So Ford has announced pretty recently that the next-gen Ranger will be getting a Raptor variant, and it looks amazing. But the good news doesn't end there, as shortly after they announced that the Ranger Raptor was making a return, Ford announced that the Ranger Raptor was finally coming to US shores, something us Yankees have been begging for since it was first announced. So let's see why I think the new Ranger Raptor is the new leader of the Baja truck game, and just what makes it so much better than the last-gen Raptor. So I promise we'll get to the 2024 Ranger Raptor in a second, but to appreciate how groundbreaking and amazing this new Raptor is, we have to look back at the previous gen and see how much of a disappointment that was. So the chassis code T6 Ranger Raptor was unveiled in Thailand in 2018, and for us Americans, this truck was already a very big disappointment. Ford made it clear from the start that the Ranger Raptor would not be sold in the US, citing concerns that it would cannibalize sales from the larger F-150 Raptor, and that the engine fitted to the Raptor, which we will touch more on in a second, wasn't approved for US emission standards, and to swap a different engine in would just cost too much. The truck got a little more disappointing though, as once the spec sheet was dropped, it kinda only got worse. It was gonna use Ford's 2-liter twin-turbo diesel, paired to its famed 10-speed automatic transmission. The engine was gonna have horsepower output of only 210 horsepower, with a respectable 370 pound-feet of torque, which I gotta say, I know this isn't a massive truck, especially compared to the F-150 Raptor, but 210 horsepower, especially for a Raptor, seems like it's almost certainly not enough. It wasn't all bad news though, as you did get a Raptor style front grille, you got fender flares, larger off-road tires wrapped around off-road wheels, upgraded suspension, diff lockers, and more. So it did come with some really cool goodies, and those paired with the high torque engine meant that getting through or over any obstacle was gonna be a breeze. But it still left a sour taste in American enthusiast mouths, as it didn't live up to our pretty high expectations when it comes to trucks. That and we didn't get, which I can guarantee you I'm still salty about. But then again, it doesn't matter if we love it or loathe it, because we never got it. And overseas, especially in countries where off-roading is not just a hobby, but a necessity like Australia, these were widely recognized as being one of the, if not the best out of all of the truck options for everything you could want or need a truck to do. And so it ended up selling pretty damn well and making Ford a metric shit ton of money. As time went on though, the T6 Ranger started looking a little dated both inside and out. So the time came for Ford to announce the next-gen chassis code T7 Ford Ranger. And once Ford dropped the renderings of the new Ranger, a lot of people, myself included, really like the way it looks. Now personally, it's a love-hate relationship. While I do love the way the new front end and overall the truck looks, I don't like this new wave of vertical, massive front grills that's sweeping the American truck market, because its sole purpose is to help guys with Napoleon complexes feel better about their tiny dicks. And it's super unsafe for pedestrians and other vehicles in the event of an accident. But I digress. There is no denying that it does look really cool. And even without the Raptor option, the trim levels on this, and more importantly, the engine options look very interesting. It ranges everywhere from the same twin-turbo diesel 4-cylinder to the 2.3 EcoBoost, all the way up to a single-turbo V6 diesel, which is my favorite so far. Obviously, that engine is designed for heavy-duty off-roading and towing, with some of those engines even being available with a manual transmission as well, which in this day and age is really cool. The interior has been redesigned as well, with a new massive center infotainment screen, which while it does help bring it into a more modern age, it isn't all good news. Ford has elected to remove a lot of the physical buttons in the interior, and instead has integrated those features into the infotainment screen. Now, if I've said it once, I've said it a million times. The damage Tesla has done to the automotive industry is now irreversible, and its push towards hyper-minimalist modern interiors benefits no one but automakers. Anyways, a little while after the announcement of the T7 Ranger, Ford confirmed what everyone already knew, that the new Ranger was going to be getting a Raptor variant, and more good news came shortly after that, as Ford also confirmed that it would be coming to US shores. Now, Ford knew they couldn't pull the same shit they did with the last-gen Ranger Raptor, as with the extremely cutthroat competition in the American performance truck market, Americans would not bite at something like that. So for this new Raptor, they seriously upped their game. Gone are the dinky little 4-cylinders and very poor design choices. Instead, now this truck has the beating heart in the form of the 3-liter EcoBoost V6, the same hallmark engine found in the Explorer ST and the Bronco Raptor. And the Explorer is known for being able to make super serious power, so the modding potential on this might actually be pretty good, but we have yet to see, obviously. Anyways, the Ranger Raptor surprisingly makes less horsepower than the Bronco Raptor, making only 405 horsepower compared to the Bronco's 418. However, the trade-off is that the Ranger is going to have a curb weight 400 pounds lighter than the Bronco, so expect a very similar 0 to 60 time, top speed, and more. Like the last gen Ranger, this Raptor will only be available with the 10-speed auto, which I personally think is a good good thing. With that many gears, it helps ensure you stay in the peak of the power band as often as possible, which for an off-road performance truck like this is really good. But you can make 1,000,000 horsepower and go 0 to 60 at the speed of light. For an off-road Baja truck, that doesn't matter if your suspension can't take the brutal beating. Lucky for buyers, however, this Ranger comes prepared for you to beat the ever-living shit out of it on the trails. The Ranger Raptor uses Fox-supplied, Ford Performance-tuned, Fox live valve internal bypass shock absorbers. Yeah, that really rolls off the tongue. Anyways, anyone who has even watched a second of any off-road racing, from small ATVs all the way up to the largest and fastest trophy trucks, knows that if you want your suspension to withstand a beating, you're gonna want Fox suspension. So the Ranger having Fox suspension is obviously amazing, but this is made for much more than high-speed pre-running. The Ranger Raptor also comes standard with front and rear diff lockers and Ford's cool trail turn assist thing that helps you make almost impossibly tight turns. All of that is paired up with the front to rear undercarriage covers with solid steel skid plates covering everything vulnerable like the oil pan, transfer case, fuel tank, and more. That means that not only will this truck absolutely body high-speed performance, but also compete with the competition in the low-speed technical off-road performance department as well. Overall, we enthusiasts should be really excited for this truck. Don't take this as me complaining, because it's honestly the exact opposite. But from a business perspective, this is one of the dumbest decisions Ford has ever made. This is going to murder the Bronco Raptor and the actual F-150 Raptor in sales. The Bronco Raptor starts at nearly $30,000 more than this Ranger Raptor. The Ranger Raptor that starts at $58K is also leaps and bounds cheaper than the F-150 Raptor $78K. In addition, it's a way better vehicle in almost every aspect compared to the other two Raptors offered in Ford's lineup. It has the same engine, is lighter and cheaper than the Bronco Raptor, with more space overall for storage, and isn't sitting on massively ridiculous wheels like the Bronco Raptor. In addition, if you are looking at the F-150 Raptor, I have no idea why you would pick one over the Ranger Raptor. The Ranger is incredibly cheaper, has the same ridiculous presence on the road, so you can feel good about your fragile masculinity and tiny dick, only has around 50 less horsepower, and I can almost guarantee you get better fuel mileage in the Ranger. Then again though, if you are buying a massive truck like this, I think miles per gallon are the least of your concerns. Overall though, I have my small issues with the truck, and the fact that the majority of the guys who buy this truck are the male equivalent of women who buy 3-row monster trucks we call SUVs, in the sense that they are both driven by knuckle-dragging idiots who will never use them to their potential, and would have been just as fine with a smaller car but need to feel better about their shitty lives. Anyways, that aside, if you do intend on using this the way Ford and God wanted you to, I don't think it gets much better in terms of performance light trucks. Then again though, I feel like the performance light truck sector is absolutely lighting up with new trucks like the Colorado ZR2 with its revolutionary suspension, and the new 2024 Taco, which is the only in-class truck with front disconnecting sway bars. As I've said before, I don't consider the Gladiator a truck. That's really more a failed abortion on wheels. And now this new Ranger Raptor. We are in for something really special in the future. Well, at least I hope so.